Welcome back. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi fielded questions about the Democrats' bill to expand the Supreme Court from 9 to 13. She said right now she would not bring it to the floor. Watch.
No. In the history of our country a long time ago. And the growth of our country, the size of our country, the growth of our challenges in terms of the economy, et cetera, might necessitate such a thing. But in answer to your question, I have no plans to bring it to the floor, no. Yes, sir.
Interesting response there, Dagen McDowell. I want to get your take on this. She says she has no plans to bring it to the floor at the same time of her saying that everything has changed. Our country has grown. The challenges have grown, suggesting that maybe she'll change her mind. What did you make of that answer?
She's serving up a nonsense casserole right there. This is the same woman recently who said that the border's on a good path. But she is right. The House isn't going to take up this legislation right now. And I said this on the 5 yesterday. The point of this legislation from these left-wing Democrats is to intimidate the Supreme Court and the justices. Mitch McConnell has said that. Senator Tom Cotton has said that, among many. What I mean is this really started, and by the way, this partisan commission to study court packing and changes to the court from the executive branch aims to do the same thing. So you intimidate the justices and threaten them in a way to make sure on rulings that they might hand down, on cases that they take up, on the judicial review of left-wing policies. So you're essentially trying to intimidate and threaten them to do the left's bidding on the high court. This all started, this has nothing to do with Amy Coney Barrett and her confirmation last year. This started, and the Wall Street Journal editorial page has covered this extensively, when Sheldon Whitehouse, Dick Durbin, Kirsten Gillibrand, Mazie Hirono, and Dick Blumenthal sent an amicus brief to the court threatening the justices with, quote, restructuring, which is court packing, if they took up a New York gun rights case. Well, guess what? The Chief Justice sided with that decision. They did not take up that case, and so their threat essentially worked. So when you give in to the far left, what are they going to do? They're going to push it and push it and push it. The same thing is going on right now.
Wow. Yeah, that's great analysis. James, what do you think?
Yeah, thanks, Dagen. And I think you look at the Democratic primary campaign when it was happening roughly a year ago, as Dagen mentioned, long before the Amy Coney Barrett nomination. This was a hot topic, and a lot of the progressive, so-called progressives, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, talking about ways to restructure the court. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg warning against it before her passing. Now we have Clinton appointee Justice Stephen Breyer warning against it because they understand this is all coming from a political agenda. Nancy Pelosi there making a reference to how our country has grown, but this is not coming from some argument that this would lead to a more efficient administration of justice, or there was some sort of technical reason why you needed an expanded court. It's obviously because they want more votes to enforce their agenda. I guess it's good Nancy Pelosi didn't endorse it, but she kind of left the door open. We remember she was originally not disposed to impeachment and came around on that. So we would have preferred a more definitive no from her.
The message is, okay, if you do our bidding on the high court, you know, maybe we won't come after you. Maybe we won't restructure you if you don't push a conservative agenda. I just want to note, and the Journal wrote an editorial about this last November, that Justice Samuel Alito, it was so offensive what Sheldon Whitehouse and his cronies did in threatening the court that Justice Samuel Alito came out and spoke about it directly. And he said these threats from these 5 Democratic senators, quote, "It was an affront to the Constitution and the rule of law. The Supreme Court was created by the Constitution, not by Congress. Under the Constitution, we exercise the judicial power of the United States. Congress has no right to interfere with that work any more than we have the right to legislate." They ought to remember that, all those Democrats, because this is going to come to bite them in the you-know-what in the midterms.
It sure will, and that was well said, Dagen.